If you're looking for a fun little family camper, but you're not looking for a retirement grade quite yet, you may want to stay tuned. This thing kind of surprised me, and it might surprise you too. Hey everybody, Josh the RV Nerd, hanging out in Ludington, Michigan today with a couple of my friends up here at our Bish's RV store. And the last time, when I was in Iowa, on one of my more recent trips, I recorded a little Shasta out there, and I said, hey, should I get a couple more of these? And a lot of people said, you know what? It's not a brand I was even thinking about or considering, but there's a lot of features on that kind of surprised me, and this one sort of caught me off guard. I walked up and I saw 25RS. I'm thinking, okay, rear sofa couples camper, right? And it's not. It's this neat little corner bunkhouse model. It's like it's an open corner bunk, but everything feels very private. Yet at only 5,123 pounds, I think that this falls into a very reasonable potential for half-ton towability. Obviously, every vehicle, every half-ton needs to be examined individually for those capacities. But it's not large, it's not heavy, it's not flashy and fancy and over the top. It's a get-the-job-done kind of camper. That's why, like, you know, for someone who's like, hey, listen, my kids are young, they're going to beat on this thing for a couple years. I'm not looking for anything over the top, so I'm not taking a major bath on it. And once they're done camping, yeah, maybe then we'll swap out to that fancy couples ultralight or fifth wheel or something like that. That's where I see this one kind of coming in right here. But it has a couple different sort of smart features that are kind of growing on me. Shasta's not a brand that was really on my radar, but they're sort of starting to show me something. But that RS, it's got to stand for something, right? So I'm going to call this the Right Said Fred, because it's too sexy for my shorts. Now, this has a nice, light, bright, overall kind of color palette to it that really seems to come to life when you kick on the living room ceiling lights. And I'm not proud to admit how long it took me to find that light switch. They had it cleverly disguised over here under the name living room. So yeah, I'm an idiot. But living room lighting aside, what do we have here? Starting from the top, working our way down. A surprisingly good light package for a brand that's very focused on hitting a specific price point. They do a good job of giving us decent ceiling light coverage in here. Central air means even though it's technically an open corner bunk, it really feels very enclosed. Then you have the private bathroom and, of course, a private front bedroom. I think you're going to want that, that centralized air to help keep this thing evenly cooled. One of the things that makes this little camper not feel so small, though, is the fact that that big bulky refrigerator is in the slide with the sofa off the floor plan. And technically, that is a carpeted slide. But barely. And it's not like it's, the dining area, the main floor is carpetless and ventless. I'm going to give this a carpetless pass. I think I'm going to induct it into the honorary carpetless club, basically, which we founded effectively just today. It never existed before now. But I don't know, and if you're like, I don't know, there's carpet there, so no, it's not carpetless. Okay, fine, no big deal. I'm just kind of spitballing. I don't think it's functionally carpetless, if that makes sense. Now, it is weird to me to not see any cabinets above the window here. If they were going to do something like that, personally, I think it would be kind of neat. Like, what if that was like an extra large window over there? Then again, windows are expensive, and I think Shasta's really gunning for that specific price point here. Probably why you also have the basic conventional, like, pedestal-style dinette. Not flashy, not fancy, but effective. You see these sealed edge countertops and tabletop all the way through the RV. That'll be persistent in the kitchen and bathroom as well. I like the household outlet down there. Now, the entertainment on this, it works for me given, I think, the goal of the RV. So that is just a Bluetooth speaker over there just on the top of the dinette back. Your TV hookups are all over here on this wall, which is not directly facing a whole lot of seating. I don't really feel like this is a floor plan, a camper that was really built with the primary idea of watching a lot of TV, but everybody's thoughts and opinions vary. If you put a wicked swing arm on that thing, you might be able to crank it out over here toward the sofa, but regardless, the sofa is overlooking that big dinette window. And notice how you have just extra large opposing full slide open breeze windows right there. So something this RV does very well is give you good looks at your campsite and give you good ventilation in the RV when you're not necessarily running the air conditioning. Not every camper does that well, so there's a couple surprising features here. I found the sticker. The bunks say they're 250-pound rated, which, you know, they call these a double bunk, like a double sleeper. I think most people use each of these as a single sleeper, especially if you have like a mixed gender household where you have like one boy and one girl little kid, you know. Just kind of looking around up in here, the top bunk definitely feels a little bit like a coffin bunk because it does not have any kind of windows or anything. Although both bunks do have their own little USB plugs, which is a nice handy little feature. The bottom bunk does have a window, but if the camp kitchen is open, it's going to block that off for the most part, so kind of keep that in mind. That's that little extra detail stuff I like to share you so that you have a better, deeper understanding of what you might be getting into when you're looking at a camper here. And you know what else I thought? That pocket under that lower bunk, that could be a perfect little dog or cat house, you know? Of course, I've got it covered up now. And by the way, the owner's manuals make for a fantastic doorstop when you're recording a video. Who knew, right? Anyway, little tricks of the trade I learned along the way. The bathroom here, I was very surprised overall, actually, with the amount of space around the toilet in this one. And notice how that has a big rectangular... it's a little bit of a shub. It's more of a shower than a tub, but it does have a little bit of a shower pan to it. But with this camper being 6.5 foot tall, if you're a little bit bigger than the average bear like I am, your head's gonna be up in that skylight for sure. Even if I didn't have the hat and the shoes, my head would be up there. And simple camper, simple fan, little things like that though. Sometimes there are folks who will get a simpler series trailer like this with the intention of applying a few specific upgrades and then saving money overall as compared to a, well, technical term, fancy pants, shiny shoes brand camper that already has those things. Sorry if that terminology blows your mind right there. That idea doesn't work for everybody. It works for some folks, and if you're a little bit handy, this one might work for you. Oh, by the way, going back down here a little bit. No, that is not where they mounted the hand towel ring. If you notice, it's not actually screwed in place at all. They ship that loose so that you and I, basically, the dealership and the customer, can decide where is the best place that you would like to put that. Because a lot of manufacturers have found over the years, no matter where they mount stuff, you're going to tell them they're dumb and put it in the wrong spot. Now, given the size of the RV and the fact that it's a bunkhouse, which weirdly, because the bunks eat up a lot of space, a lot of times camper builders have a hard time including good storage in it. This one's not bad. Now that space right there, it may have to double as a little bit of a pantry / wardrobe. And that space right there might need to double as both like silverware and underwear, which I know sounds really wacky. But that's because in the main kitchen proper space, it doesn't actually have a single drawer. Which is not my favorite thing to share, but just because it's inconvenient doesn't make it less true. And my goal here is to give you all the real good information I can give you so that you have a better, more educated idea of what you're getting into with this camper. That is a 12-volt compressor fridge over there, by the way. Down here under the sink, it's kind of tricky. It's like, part of me wishes it was open for wastebasket storage. Part of me wishes there was a drawer down there, and another part of me thinks there's a way that they could have done a little bit of A and a little bit of B. But they didn't. They didn't do any of those things. Instead, we just have maximized shelving. So, what you might want to do is get like a little utensil organizer that maybe you keep up here or down below or some space like that. Just whatever works good for you. Easy reach appliance outlet's nice. You have limited counter space, but the appliance outlet is nice there. This is definitely a floor plan that as an owner, I think I would add like a countertop extension leaf off the side of that right there. And I don't think anyone would ever regret having that added on. Now, there's not storage below both sides of the dinette because the one side nearest the bunks, there's stuff. Like right here, you can actually see your converter panel. Under the other side, though, it is mostly storage. But again, there's some stuff partially under that. But at least they didn't waste the whole thing. That I do appreciate. And This is a tiny little detail I just realized. Look at the radius work on that dinette. When you're scooting in and out of that thing, if that was a sharp corner, you would scratch the crap out of the back of your legs. That right there is job well done by Shasta. That's kind of the funny thing. Sometimes they nail some very specific details here. But then, no drawers in the kitchen. But I've yet to find an RV that's necessarily perfect. By the way, something I wanted to point out here. Because this is a center wall kitchen, I don't know how else to describe it other than that. But basically, because the stove is not mounted against an exterior sidewall, they couldn't do a traditional sidewall vent to get the heat out of the RV. So that is basically just going to have like a little charcoal filter to get the stank out, whereas that is going to be used primarily to get the heat out. Again, it's a small basic blade fan, but it's better than nothing. And again, that is a potential fairly easy upgrade, really, overall. Now, remember how I had trouble locating the living room lights because they were cleverly designed with this little wireless... you can sync to this, by the way, with your phone with the LCI One control app. You can activate this stuff wirelessly. But you know the way that they hid the lighting from me right there? I walked into this bedroom and I expected to reach up and just click the lights on and off, but I realized that wasn't the case. Now the light above the bed clicks on and off like that, but I looked high and low. I figured, okay, maybe they hit a light switch under that overhead cabinet. Nope. Maybe on the wall with the sliding pocket privacy door behind us and to our left. Nope. I couldn't find it anywhere, and I basically gave up, and I leaned back against the wall, and lo and behold, I discovered the light switch. It's just unintentionally, virtually, completely obscured by that little window treatment right there. I had no idea I even laid on it. So, like I said, I'm an idiot, but sometimes even an idiot gets lucky. Now, I do appreciate the fact that they included a full overhead cabinet, not just a full, not even a full, but just a shelf above the bed right here, like a lot of brands do, because that means like you could put baskets in an overhead shelf, but a lot of times you want to take them down before you travel so they don't jostle out and spill stuff on your bed. You won't have that problem here, which I do appreciate. There are household and USB outlets on both sides of the bed. Everybody likes them United States Bs beside the bed right there. But, potential deal breaker, and I hope you appreciate that I point this out. It's a camp queen. You do have room here if you went with a true queen bed and you are willing to do the butt scoop boogie to get around it. You have the room to do that. But this little backbreaker wafer right here is unfortunately a 60 by 74 bed. Now, if you're not as tall as me, well, then that's not a problem, and it's keeping the RV shorter, lighter, and less expensive, and that's a good thing. But if you are tall like me and you're terrified of the bed goblins biting off your toes, well, then that will be an issue. What I'm wondering is there storage under here? I haven't checked. Okay, so there is storage below the bed. It is nicely segregated inside from outside, so that is cool. It does not have any sort of easy lift mechanism, though, so kind of like the vent fans. That may be a potential upgrade that you consider applying to this one, or you can kind of get away with doing what I've done here, where you lift the mattress, and then you shove the bed deck up in the middle of it so it just kind of wedges itself in place. Now, if you go with a replacement mattress that's bigger, thicker, heavier, that may be more problematic. But consider this, guys. If the only thing you need in this camper is just a set of like easy lift bed struts, give our team a call. That is easy, simple screwdriver work. Like, you're like, I would rather have a porcelain toilet. I would like to have bigger fans in those vents. That's very easy stuff for us to accomplish for you. What I am wondering though, what is the road mode travel access like on this one? I think it might be good, but I haven't checked yet. Let's do that. Ooh! It's fantastic. This is a fully functional travel mode camper. That is, wow. I mean, let me back myself down. Okay, so the microwave and the stovetop you can't really get to. So no, maybe not fully travel accessible because you're not going to get the oven down for some traveling cookies and biscuits. But short of that, I mean, if you got to get in here, you got to get to the fridge. You got to sit down and feed the kids. You got to stop for an overnight sleepover because maybe you got started late. Bet you can't imagine that happening with a bunch of kids in a bunkhouse. You got to stop because mom, dad, I got a potty. Or if mom and dad, whoever, has to potty. This has fantastic traveling access. A plus, baby. Now, as that graphic right there indicates, Shasta's been in it for a minute. They're not a Johnny-come-lately brand. They're not necessarily one that has been on the forefront of the industry for a while, though. So to help you kind of get up to speed, if you weren't familiar with them, Shasta is basically a Coachman subsidiary. This is like a cousin to a Coachman Catalina. The construction's very, very similar. So like starting up top on the roof, we have a 3/8 fully walkable roof deck with 16-inch on center roof trusses, 16-inch on center wall studs in case you felt like, mounting something at some point. Just make sure you get the stud finder, hold it up to your chest first and go, yup, there's one, to properly calibrate it, and then you're good to go. It's a 5/8 floor with 12-inch on center floor studs. That's all very stick and tin conventional kind of stuff. So the construction's roughly on par, on paper anyway, with anything else that's out there. And the reason I say on paper is because when they're all on paper the same, it's really the individual craftsmanship that's going to come down to be the decision maker. I like the inclusion of a power tongue jack up front here, 20-pound propane tanks for an easy Sunday switchover. In case you run out of propane, is always a nice thing. You got ourselves a drunken uncle leash latch up here, and in case you weren't aware, that little paw down there on the little doggy tie-down thing, that's actually a bottle opener, which is kind of cool for some folks. For others, it's probably not going to serve any sort of purpose. A little magnet holdback's nice. It does have the simple little, silvery twist locks, which I think at this price point you kind of expect it sort of goes with the territory. But the front pass-through storage out here is awesome. And the thing is, it's more than just, I like the fact that it's a big storage compartment, because what I want to point out is that door over there, that's what most campers call the big door. This one just goes extra large because it kind of wraps around the bed base a little bit where there's that storage on the inside. But then you get over here, and it's kind of neat, like up top here, that's sort of like a little bit of a fishing pole pocket storage thing. You notice how there is an LED light that goes across the top of the pass-through so you can see what you're doing. That's a neat little feature. Of course, it'd be neater if I actually plugged my battery in, but I've already unhooked that. Sorry about that. Anyway. But then you get down here, and there's this random plug sticking out of the wall, and you're like, what? Well, remember that speaker we saw inside? It's on these little, like, easy lift dismount kind of brackets. So if you want to bring it outside, you can. And this is really exciting to me because I've been actually posing the question to a lot of viewers. What would you say if an RV company did away with the outside speakers? If they got rid of a potential leak point and wiring fault problem and just went with something like a portable speaker? Well, that's exactly what Shasta's doing. And that's the thing. They're doing some simple, smart things that kind of interest me. And I realize I'm kind of jumping around like the House of Pain over here, but I wanted to sort of jump you over the other side since we were looking at that pass-through. For some reason, that just felt right to me. I don't know. When we get over here, what you see is this has a very simple, like, portable side prep plug for a solar panel. This is not a brand that has really done much. When I say much, basically it's done nothing in the way of roof solar packages. So if that's something you're really interested in, this may not be the right one for you. But for someone like me, who's a casual Midwestern park camper, it checks all the boxes I really need. If I wanted to take my wife and kid out for a fun family weekend, this would do everything I need it to do. And it's going to be lighter weight and less expensive versus a lot of other things out there. So, that could work for me. Now, maybe you prefer a longer bed. Maybe you prefer a bunch of different things. That's why we have all these different RVs. But there's some folks who are like, listen, I just want a simple thing to take my family out, but I need a little bit of space inside. That little slide on this would do the trick pretty awful nicely, I think. Hot, cold, outside utility shower right there. I like how the water heater and the furnace exhaust, by the way, are both over here on the driver's side of the camper. If you've never owned an RV, that's something you may not think about when you're shopping. Those are hot exhaust fixtures and features. So if you got your kids bouncing around under the awning, you don't necessarily want them near something hot. Now in the summertime, you're probably not running that furnace, but you're still probably running the water heater. So, just the little detail things there to look for. As someone who's, gone camping and looked at RVs for years, it's those little things that I've keyed into to keep an eye on,
Handy little cargo rack on the back. That's going to have about a 200-pound rating, give or take. Now, that's going to be before the spare tire, by the way. So kind of, what does that weigh, 40 pounds? Something like that? I'm shooting from the hip. I guess I don't know. I don't know how much a spare tire actually weighs now that I've opened my mouth. We're backup camera ready in case you are so inclined. And something that's easy to miss is this RV does have a hookup to allow the gas to come out the backside. And I do believe we all know what that is called now, don't we? Over here, around the side, it's a simple camp kitchen, but you figure they left you kind of an open space here, where if you want to bring a grill or a griddle or something, you got the quick connect right over there. They left you space to put it up here, or you don't have to bring any of that. Maybe you just want to cook everything on the fire and you want some prep space. Well, there you go. That's going to work pretty well. This is something I don't love, but I suspect 1,000% is just a symptom of their goal and target price point. Is that it's a nice big basin, but it's not a draining sink into a holding tank, although it does have hot and cold water to the outside. So you're going to have to keep that in mind. A lot of campgrounds, by the way, don't really take kindly to people just flipping water out onto their campsites. There is one thing on this RV, though, over here I really wish could have been done a little bit better, and I hope you appreciate the candid transparency. It unfortunately does suffer from a fairly small power awning. It covers the main entry door reasonably well. It covers that campside window so you can have some rainy day airflow. So it's not that it's completely not awesome, but if you look at this, if I get you right up here, moving at Mach speed, I usually move a lot slower. They maybe could have put the awning arm right in between that baggage door and that window. And I don't know, maybe that extra foot or whatever of awning space wouldn't make or break a difference, but it wouldn't break my achy, breaky heart. Why? What is up with the aches and the breaks with me suddenly? I don't know. So let me know what you think about the old 25 right said Fred back here, and do you think this is, do you like this layout? Now, if you're looking for something like this, only a little bit flashier, perhaps, a Coachman cousin to this might be the Apex 256 BHS. Basically the exact same layout, but done in an Asdel laminated brand. So whether you prefer just stick and tin basics, or if you prefer just a little bit more upscale, but not totally over the top quite yet, we've got something for you, Bish's RV. If you like the way that we shoot you straight and show you where it rocks, maybe where it falls a little short, hit that subscribe button. And I would ask you to share the same information. Leave me a little note, let me know, what is your favorite thing about this one? And what is the one thing that you'd change given the opportunity? And I'd love to hear from you. And until next time, let me know if I should hit a couple more Shastas or if you think you've seen enough of this brand, and we'll move on. So take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.